Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Mornings with Loretta. And yes, you have seen him just now. And let me tell you about Ebs Burnough. He is an acclaimed filmmaker. He's a documentary. He's a storyteller, a visionary. And I watched this documentary last night, and I have tons of questions, but I want to make sure I'm not giving too much away. Ebs, welcome to Mornings with Loretta.
Thank you, Loretta. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let me, the documentary from Jack Kerouac's book. I love how you emerged or aligned what his work was doing, and then you took it up, you elevated it. Not that it needed elevating, but I understood it more clear, is what I'm saying. So I have so many questions for you. I have so many questions. So what was it about the book that you said, let's do this in 2025? Let's make this happen.
You know what? I read that book when I was 16 years old. And I was 16 and I was living in northern Florida, South Georgia. And honestly, at the time, I thought it was a brilliant book, but I never felt the same sense of being able to go on the road in the way that Kerouac did. And so I was fascinated today in really examining the people who didn't have the ability to go on the road when this book was published in 1957, and it took a long time for the book to be published. So, when people couldn't go on the road in that way. So, women, people of color, but now, that road belongs to all of us. And so I wanted to be able to show the breadth of what brings us together as opposed to what actually tears us apart.
Okay, I love that. And I'm not going to talk about what I saw because I don't want to do hopefully there will be no spoiler alert, but I agree with you because I remember being a little girl and traveling in what people are calling is a small version of an AV my dad had. Mm-hmm. We went to Nashville. And I don't know what my parents were thinking or what they were going through because they hid it from us. We thought it was an amazing thing. We thought, man, we are rich. Everybody's going to, be jealous of us as kids. We just wanted to see Opryland. So I'm wondering now in introspect or extrospect, what did my parents go through? Once I saw that, I was like, everything was fine for us from a kid's perspective. So did you experience anything or did your parents tell you something about that book really wasn't for everybody because nobody could travel like Jack could?
No, I think I was lucky. My mom was a teacher and really, really encouraged me. Reading was a big part of our household. And so she encouraged me to find in everything, to find elements of myself. But I remember very clearly traveling as a young kid, and there were places that, particularly at the time, traveling in the South, it's just me and my mom, and traveling, and there were places where it was like, we're not going to stop for gas here. Let's get through here to get to there. And so I think that in many ways did kind of keep me away from being on the road. But now I feel this is all of our road, and we're all on our own individual paths, our own individual roads. But the great thing about America is that we're like little individual cells, and we bump into one another. So like this, today I'm bumping into you, Loretta, and then maybe I'll bump back into you later, but we're traveling on this journey together. And in a world where we're constantly siloed by algorithms from social media, we actually have a lot more that brings us together than there is that tears us apart.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that because it is not just a physical road. And maybe Jack was intending for it just to be on the road physically and not literally or figuratively. But I love how you just said what you said, because now literally and figuratively, we are on a road, right? And even under the dire circumstance, you're going to be safe, but you can go where you want to go. You just have to be safe, right? So
That's right.
Do you think that Jack intended for us to get it literally and figuratively?
I think
you can't ask him, but
no, I think he did. I think he intended it for us to get it literally. I think he intended it for us to get it literally and figuratively. And I think one of the things, look, I always like to say to people, this is not a perfect book, right? It's written in a time where, there are elements of racism and misogyny and all manner of things that we look at today. and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm glad I don't live in 50 in the 1950s anymore. And yet there are also, his chronicling of American life at that time. He was also really showing life for people of color, for Black people, Latino people, you name it. He was showing what life really was to a degree, and he was writing about it at a time when a lot of other people weren't writing about it. So I think he wanted to take us. I think he wanted to show us what real life was and what it was to be on the road. But I think he also wanted us to think outside of just the reality of the road and think something higher for ourselves.
I absolutely agree with it. And I don't know what my expectation was or expectations were, but I felt like it changed. It shifted something in my mind, and I haven't had time to really cuddle with it, but I'm going to cuddle with it. So with you, Ebs, was Amir, did you see yourself in Amir? Because he was from a single mom household. And I love how you portrayed it. You didn't hide anything, but you also included what's possible, right? Was the potential, no matter where you start from, what you're seeing every day. There is so much world and life to be had and enjoyed. So did you see yourself in a mirror?
Oh yeah, I saw myself in a mirror. If I were, I wish I were at his age, a tenth as elegant and eloquent and brilliant as he is. But yes, I saw myself in a mirror, and I also saw in a mirror the true, Black boy joy, which was something that, so often the stories we hear about, people that look like me can be negative or are sad and Amir is nothing but pure joy and excitement and hope for the future. And that gives me, it gives me real hope for everybody, for our entire nation. But he really did. Yeah, it struck a real chord. His story touched me very, very personally.
Oh my goodness. Can you tell us where we can find those in select theaters August 1st? Our time is up. I have to honor it, but I have so many more conversations I want to have with you, Ebs, about this documentary, this film. But it was brilliant. I like how you included everybody, right? Or a community of everybody. So thank you so much for being my guest on Mornings with Loretta.
Thank you for having me, Loretta. You're the best.
You are too. We got to do this again. Bye for now.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
So he has to go because the film comes out on Friday. So he's doing the whole media tour. But I'm so glad that tour included Mornings with Loretta. And like I said, it is my joy and honor and privilege to bring you all kinds of amazing shows that you probably wouldn't think of. Let me check it out yourself. But once we have a dialogue about it, and it could remove some inherited limitations or beliefs about a certain subject, and you'll give it a try. And check out that film, Kerouac's On the Road by Ebs Burnough. It's amazing, is all I can say. It's not one of those things where you're going to get in the movie, be entertained, fall in love with the character because they're handsome or brilliant or she's fabulous. It is a story that will resonate with your soul and have you questioning, how do I show up? How am I being seen? And how am I seeing others? So don't go anywhere. We have another segment coming up on Mornings with Loretta.